Hello, welcome back to Survival Sunday with Johnny Tiger. Yeah, I know, not very original, as the title goes, but Kitten and I both had a really long day, so not feeling particularly creative at the moment. But the show must go on, and here is a make-up video for our missing Survival Saturday. The date today is, I believe, let me think, December 5th, 2021. And yes, I will try to roll out a Soul Search Sunday later. As you can see, we are not doing sleep control today because Kitten is uh, occupied with something else, and I can't really do sleep control on my own. No one to control, no one to control me. So, we are going to take this episode and talk about something simple uh, and vital when it comes to using a knife in self-defense or uh, conflict scenario. Now, let me just quickly say, normally we don't like to, at least I myself don't like to teach this kind of knife uh, fighting combative stuff because I always feel that unless I know who I'm teaching it to, there's always a chance some bad person is going to learn these things, and that would be bad. But on the other hand, I'm thinking, well, a lot of bad people probably already learned these things in jail, or on some other medium. So that would be equally bad if they know these things, but normal, ordinary folks like you and I don't know these things. So that is a conflict, the dilemma that I personally run into to teach or not to teach. What is the way to do this? Secondly, when we talk about knife fighting in any kind of sense, unless you live in some horribly primitive, barbaric, third world places, uh, knife fighting is very much a thing of the past. It's mostly academic. Okay, people in Canada, in US, at least most people don't go out in the street and square off with someone. You get a knife, I get a knife, and okay, let's go. Let's see who kills who first. Okay, that is not that is more in Hollywood movie. However, that does not make what we are teaching today, what I'm teaching today, any less valuable because I strongly promote people carry self-defense tools, and I strongly promote everyone carry at least a small knife on you, not so that you can go and kill other people with it, but there are many other scenarios in your daily life that you might need a knife. I can't even begin to tell you how often I have this friend or that friend ask me, "Hey, can I borrow your knife? Do you have a knife on you? I can't get this open." And whenever that happens, I think, see, I always told you you should carry a knife. But no, no, you guys want to be squeamish. Don't want to be like serial killer. If you carry your own knife, you wouldn't have to borrow it from me. Huh? So I am a strong supporter for people to carry knives for not just self-defense reason, but for pure survival reason. Which means there might be time when you actually do have to use a knife in self-defense scenario. One of the biggest, biggest reason I have heard people say why they don't want to carry a knife. Surprisingly, it's not that people are afraid that they might kill somebody. One of the biggest reasons I hear people say, "Oh, I don't want to carry a knife," is I don't know how to use it. I don't want my attacker taking it away and use it on me. which is really uh, valid. Because if you pull out a knife and you don't know how to use it, and your attacker get a hold of it, there is a big chance they might use it on you because you already escalated the scenario to an armed conflict. The moment you pull out this knife, you escalate the situation to a totally different level. Right? Two guys in the street punching each other, choking each other, wrestling each other. Right? That is one level. Uh, Suddenly, one guy pull out a knife. The entire thing, the entire dynamic changes. Now this is no longer a boxing match. Now this is no longer a fisticuff. Now it's life and death. You kill him or he kills you. Right? Even worse, if you pull out the knife first and your attacker somehow stick it into you, they may get away with it with self-defense because they are trying to protect themselves against you. You reach for a weapon first. Now, I've spoken about this before. In Canada, at the very least, law, self-defense law is more lenient toward women. So if a woman is being attacked by a man and that woman pull out a knife, then that's pretty legit. She'll actually get to claim self-defense. But if a guy is fighting a guy, like me getting in a fight with someone else, and I pull out a knife, if I go to court and say, "Hey, I pulled out a knife because I'm blind," no, sorry, guy fighting guy is an equal contest situation. You don't pull out a knife first. Otherwise, you kind of default to being in the wrong. Of course, that has several different scenarios and other situations that may be taken into consideration. But for the most part, man versus man, the first person pulling out a weapon will be at the wrong. Man versus women, the first the the woman pulling out a weapon usually can get away with it. So keep that in mind. Now with that preamble out of the way, let's get down to business. And we want to keep it simple today. In using your knife in self-defense or combative in a conflict situation, there's three rathers you want to keep in mind. Three rather. What are they? Number one, push rather than pull. Push rather than pull. What do I mean by that? When there's a knife involved, both people are fighting for their life. There's a lot of panic, a lot of chaos. One time or another, one person is going to grab the other person by the wrist, like this, either by the wrist, by the hand, try to grab the knife blade or whatever. Okay, all kind of crazy stuff happens when two people are struggling over a knife. Whenever this happens, when someone latches onto your wrist, uh, you the last thing you want to do is pull. Last thing you want to do is pull. Sometimes you have to, but most likely you really don't want to do that. This is why. Uh, let's say Bruce grab onto my wrist and we're pulling and I'm yanking back and suddenly Bruce let go. I just stab myself in the face. Right? Let's say I hold my knife in the commando style and I come driving down and Bruce got a hand on my arm. And in this case, okay, do I really want to pull back? It might seem like a good idea, but watch what's going to happen. I pull, he pull, and then he doesn't let go. I stab myself in the stomach. Right? No. A lot of people, I can't even beginning to tell you guys how many get killed in a fight. Wrestling over a knife, got killed by their own knife because of that. Because as soon as someone get a hold of them, they try to pull away. They try to pull away. And usually that's what happened. Suddenly, the person let go, the knife going to their leg, knife going to their belly, going to their face, going to their neck. Okay? So when someone get a hold of your knife hand, rather than pulling, you want to drive in. You want to drive forward. Okay? So rather than me pulling, he let go, I stab myself. What I want is he pull, I stab in. Right? He pull, I push in. Huh? If he push, if he pushes, I don't want to fight his momentum. If he pushes toward me, I'm going to drive in at an angle, still toward him. I always want to stab in, push in towards them. Okay? I come down, commando grip, come down, and he intersect me. I don't want to pull back. I want to drive right in. Right? Put my body weight on it, but still push toward him. Okay? So push rather than stop. Push rather than pull. Whenever you're dealing with a bladed instrument, right? That's always the better way to do it. Okay? Number two, stab rather than cut. Stab rather than cut. Now, with this said, let me quickly warn you guys. It's very unlikely you'll kill someone by cutting them. But if you stab, most likely there's a high probability that you will kill them. Right? Keep that in mind. But but you already the conflict is bad enough for you to think you need to pull out a knife. Right? That shouldn't even be that big of a consideration by the time it reaches that point. Right? I always tell people. People ask me, you carry a knife all the time. So does that mean that as soon as someone pisses you off, you pull a knife out? I said no, no. In fact, my whole life, I very, very, very rarely pull a knife on somebody. Maybe uh, 5 times, probably less than that. Right? Uh, if something gets so bad that I feel I can't deal with it unless I have a knife in my hand, then I'm prepared to deal with it in court. I'm prepared to maybe even go to jail because this is gotten to the point that it's a knife or I might get killed. Right? So when things escalate to that point that you need a knife in your hand, then it shouldn't matter really all that much of a probability of you killing that person in front of you. Okay, I'm not promoting for people to go kill others, but I'm saying that before you pull out this knife, ask yourself, am I prepared to kill this person if I have to? Right? Really ask yourself. Now, so why do I say cut versus stab rather than cut? Let me show you guys with a real knife. Right? Don't do this at home. I'm very good at what I do. This is why I can do this. But you guys, please don't do this at home, right? Especially children. Children shouldn't be watching this anyway. Now, this is my Trade Viper Generation 3 switchblade or out the front knife. Okay, this is sharp as hell. Very good combat knife, but it's more of a utility knife than anything else. But watch this. Okay, it's sharp on both ends. I just whacked my forearm, even slashed my forearm with this. This is real. Okay, this is a real knife. No penetration because I'm wearing a jacket. Eh? This is not even a particularly hardcore jacket. Just a regular sport jacket. I can go this, I can go this, I can whack it with a real knife. Right? Now, if I really want to saw at it, Obviously, it's going to tear through the jacket, but I can stand here, whacking my own arm with the blade of the knife. Okay? Would I do would I stab it? No, because if I just put a little bit of pressure on it, out, it already kind of penetrates a little bit, right? So this is basically one of those scenarios. Picture is worth a thousand word. When someone is wearing garments, you can cut, you can slice, unless your knife is sharp, very sharp, and your technique is super good, and the angle is really good. Most likely, you're not going to penetrate very good. You're going to get snagged on their shirt. But if you stab, it doesn't take a lot. It will penetrate. Even if they're wearing leather jacket, this will penetrate. No problem. Doesn't take a lot of force. Huh? So, rule number two, stab rather than cut. Rule number three, speed rather than force. Speed rather than force. But keep in mind, this is not a baseball bat, not a hammer. You're not trying to nail, you're not trying to drive nail into the wall with it. Right? The knife has a sharp edge because that sharp edge is supposed to do the work, and you don't need to put a lot of force behind it. It's not meant to be an axe. Okay? Your goal is not to chop off the guy's arm with it. Right? A little bit of penetration, once the blood starts flowing, once you cut through some of the main tendons or muscles in the arm, in the leg, the person is out of the fight. Right? You don't need to chop them in half with this. Okay, so speed rather than force. You don't need to swing. Okay, let's say I'm using Bruce as a target for practicing. It should look very effortless, like this. Cut, 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 moving, cut, moving, cut. Okay? It shouldn't look like this. Cut. Okay? Waste of energy. Not to mention, when you miss your target and actually hit a wall, mess your hand up on the floor, you will drop your knife, which will be bad. Right? Getting tired when you're trying to control a knife will be bad. Okay? If all I'm doing is quick little movement, very little energy, I can keep this up for like half an hour, no problem. Right? So, speed rather than force. Now the recap. The three rathers, basic rule in handling a knife in a combat situation. Push rather than pull. Stab rather than cut. Speed rather than force. And remember, when you're passing your knife off to your partner, when you're practicing, never hand them the knife. Either drop it, let them pick it up, or tuck it under your arm, let them take it. Don't build bad habit by passing off your weapon. Thank you for checking out today's Survival Sunday. Be back again later for Soul Search Sunday after I grab some dinner. Have a good evening. I'll see you guys again soon.